Alright, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and I've been going through a series of payroll iterations in Java to kind of correspond to the book that we have. And so far, I have created a hard-coded payroll, number 01, a payroll 02A, which we use scanner, a payroll 02B, where we used, not scanner, show input dialog and show message dialog, and a number 3, where we did an if statement. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to create yet another folder that I'm going to call payroll number 03B. Alright, so that really should have been 03A, but that's okay. And I'm going to come back to here, and I'm going to take this program that I have, and I'm going to close this project. Alright. I don't know if it'll hurt now to put an A in here right now when I get done, or not. But I'm doing it anyway. Okay. So this next program, what I have, I don't want to do that yet. What I want to do is basically write the same program that I just wrote, but I want to break this down so that instead of having one big routine where I put everything, I want to write separate methods. Alright, so what I have done is I copied what I had before, everything. I mean everything. And I'm going to literally just put it in here. I don't know if I recopied the package statement or not, but that's not going to matter, so there. Now what I have is essentially the same program that I had just a minute ago. But what I want to do, okay, I'm going to do two different things in here. First of all, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to add some more constants. You've seen me do this before in other languages, so I'm going to add private, static, final, double. What do we do first? Min hours. Equal, so the minimum number of hours you can work are 0.0. Minimum number hours worked. Alright. I get the gray because I haven't used it yet, but we're going to do that shortly. Alright, and then we want a maximum number of hours. We're going to assume again, we've done this before, that the maximum number of hours you can work are 84 in a week. So if you work more than that, you're working more than 12 hours a day. Alright, and we'll also have min rate, and that'll be 0. So that's minimum pay rate. And in just a minute we'll have the maximum pay rate. Again, we will assume that for the max rate, I'm just grabbing an arbitrary value here. So I'm going to assume that that is 100. Okay, move all these over because I'm anal that way. Alright, so these are my new constants here. The minimum number of hours you can work, the maximum number of hours you can work, the minimum rate you can get paid, the maximum rate you can get paid. We still have our other two constants here and here. Alright. Now I'm not going to make any of my variables here, none of them are going to be global. Alright? But I think what I will do is I'll take these patterns, and I will make these two variables, the input string and the output string. I'll make those. I don't even have to with the output string, but I'm going to just grab these. And end up putting them in here. When you take variables and you set them up at the top of the program like this, they become global to the program. They may have to make these static, and probably wouldn't hurt to make them private too. So I think that's all okay. Alrighty. Let's put a little comment here that says global, I don't know, decimal format patterns. Okay? Alright. So this is going to change quite a bit now, just so you know. Alright? So the first thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to get errors galore as I go through and do this. Okay, because I'm going to say string first name, and I'm going to get rid of my comment. I'm just going to call input first name. I'm going to get an error because that hasn't been written yet. All right. So let me come down here and write it. So I'm going to say static string input first name and we'll say string fn equals and then we will return fn. All right. Now, if this worked, we shouldn't see any difference on our screen. So let's just check that out. Let's do a save all, run payroll, because it's a brand new one. So it should still come up on the screen and tell us to input our first name, just like it has been doing. Input first name, Jeffrey. Middle initial P, last name Scott, age 61, union status false, employee number 12345, hours worked 40, hourly rate 25, and well, let's look at it here. Jeffrey P. Scott, you can see it's still acting the same. That's great. That's what we want to have happen. All right. Now, I'm going to cheat a little bit here and grab this whole thing, paste it back in. This will be input last name. This will be ln, as will this. All right. So now, this changes to input last name. Right? Oh, that should have been input middle initial, but actually this one will work fine for right here. This will be middle initial. And since we're using, why don't we call it input middle name? All right, and we'll call this MN instead of that. Okay? And I'm going to grab this and drag it down. And just so you can put your whole middle name in there, since we made it a string anyway. So this will be, okay, this is going to give me an error for now, but that's okay. So this will say input middle name. All right, and this will be OK. And we've got the last name. So that'll now be MN for middle name. So we now are inputting our first name, our middle name, and our last name. Now notice string last name, this is gray, so it says it's redundant. Yeah, that's fine. All right, I am being told that I'm running out of space on my machine here, so let me quickly move some stuff over, okay? And I will go to my desktop. That is junk. It is empty. Sorry to do this in front of you like this, but that should at least clear up some of my mess. All right. I think these are all, the rest of these are empty. And it looks like they are. All right. This one I have to clean up myself momentarily, and that's what's taking up all the room here. All right. So I now have my input first name, input middle name, input last name. So now I can do my input age. Oh, there. I think that's why, because I've got last name here. That might be where it's redundant. There we go. All right. So let's do an input H. All right, again, I'm getting the error because I haven't written that yet. That'll be a static byte input H. All right. So I do need this string, input string equals that, byte, age equals that, return age, that should be everything. Looks good. All right, this will be input union status. Again, it'll be red because I have not yet written the routine. All right, so I'm going to grab this, drop it in down here, and then copy this one. Instead of returning a byte, that'll return a Boolean. let's just call it US for union status. And that will be equal to boolean.parseBool. And I'll have to return US. All I'm doing is I'm taking this and breaking it down from where it was. I'll make that an A, I guess. All right. Main is acting more like a driver now when you take a look, because I'm about to remove these from right here and replace those right here. Then I'm going to remove this and I'm going to replace that here, and then finally I'll have this in its own routine. So hopefully what you're seeing is main is becoming a driver, and I'm writing methods to do all of the individual work. All right, and I guess I don't need that anymore because I already did it. All right, so let's do this. Let's come in here and we'll make this int, and we'll call this input employee number. Please enter employee number. Hopefully you see too, if you look here, this should be union status. And that's part of the problems that you can run into. So there's first name, middle name, and that should be last name. That's part of the problems you can run into by doing a lot of copying and pasting. So what I just did there wasn't good. So this should have been, in fact, I want that here. There we go. So this is enter employee number. This is int, en, for employee number, is equal to that, and that'll be integer.parseInt. All right, and I'll have to return en. Then let's write the last two of these. This will be a double, and it will be input hours worked. We are going to have to put a little bit more into this one, but that's okay. String, input string equal, please enter hours worked. Again, we'll fix this up in just a couple minutes. HW, and that'll be double.parseDouble. That's got to be a double. All right, just about finished, believe it or not, with the first part. And let's copy this, and this will be hourly rate. Now, if I've done everything correct, that's always a big if with me, but this will be input employee number. This will be input hours worked, and this will be input hourly rate. All right? You can see that main is shrinking. It's getting smaller. All right? Now, this double gross pay, this will be equal to, and again, I'm going to get calculate gross pay, I'm going to get an error. All right, and I'm getting an error for many reasons. I haven't written a routine yet, and that's the big thing. I no longer need this stuff here. That's gone. But I want to grab everything that's in here, copy it to the clipboard. Static double calculate gross pay. Now, I'm going to get an error for right now. See that? So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to put in double HW for hours worked, double HR for hourly rate. So these will all become HW. Double GP equals 0.0, and that's the gross pay. All right. So here that's GP. And again, it may look like, what the heck are you doing here? But all I'm doing is just a bunch of replacements. Okay. Missing the return. Return the gross pay, so that fixed that. But I have to, since I'm calling this, that's got to be an N. It needs the hours worked, and it needs the hourly rate. All right. Wow, this is shrinking in a monumental way. So, finally, I'm going to grab all of this, and I'm going to call DisplayAll, and I want to pass into that everything. So the first name, the middle name, the last name, we called it, you know, we really should make all those middle name. I mean, just to be consistent, if I'm going to call stuff first name, etc. So middle name, last name. I'll have to make a couple changes below in just a second. Age is union, the employee number, and finally the hours worked, the hourly rate, and the gross pay. This will have to now become middle name, and probably one down here will have to be called middle name too, but I'm not sure. All right, so that's not a problem. So I think I kept that, so let's check. Static void display all. Now I just want to paste that in. So what do we have here? So we will need string, fn, string, mn, string, ln. Let's just change all these. So first name, that'll be last name, do we have? We've got a byte for the age, a Boolean for the union status, an int for the employee number, a double for the hours worked, a double for the hourly rate, and a double for the gross pay. So I have to change all these accordingly. A, union status, employee number. Again, it's getting fixed little by little here. HW, HR, GP. Okay, I believe at least all of it is fixed. So now, in fact, I can grab all of this and put this in here too. I'm gonna have to make a couple changes to it, but that's not bad. And let me just come on the bottom here and paste that in. Now, again, it'll be red because that'll have to be FN for first name, MN for middle name, LN for last name, A for age, US for union status, EN for employee number, HW for hours worked, HR for hourly rate, and GP for gross pay. All right. So now one thing I like to do, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to come in here and put something like that in, just a little delimiter in front of all these. You don't have to do this. Does not make the program run any better. You could argue and say it makes the program run worse because I'm adding extraneous comments in here, but it's allowing me to split everything up, and I like doing that. There. All right, now a couple more things. All right. First of all, this is now all of Maine. That is all of Maine. So, Maine is a driver. It's just calling routines. It's declaring variables and calling routines. These global decimal format patterns, we're only using them in this routine here. So we really could just add it down here. We don't need the private anymore. We also shouldn't need the static anymore. All right, so declare and initialize decimal format patterns. Okay, just trying to clean this up a little bit. All right, so what's left? Our input first name and input middle initial and input last name are fine. Let's say that the minimum age, we'll set those two. I wasn't going to do that, but we can. So private, static, final, int, min age. Let's say for somebody to work at this place, you have to be at least 18 years of age. We'll say minimum age allowed. Since we've got a minimum age, we'll have a maximum age. And we will make that 130. Okay? So, we input our first name, that's fine. We input our last name, that's fine. Does Java have a trim function? Right now, we could put just in a blank space for the name, and that's not very, very good. So, I'm going to ask, does Java have a trim function? I don't remember. Correct way to trim a string in Java. Java string trim method. Well, I'm going to try this and see if it works. mn dot trim. So we're going to try to trim this. Oops. We'll do this equals, and then mn equals that. Doesn't like this. Trim in string cannot be applied. I think it's because I'm trying to do it right here. So I'm going to say here mn equals, like that. Okay. mn dot, now can I say mn equals mn dot trim? Okay. We'll fix this up in the next lecture, okay? Because I'm already, holy moly, I'm at 33 minutes already. I'm going to keep going. So this will be the last name. Oops. Well, there was the first name. I guess I goofed up. That was the middle name. Alrighty. So it should be first. F. You could call these M. It doesn't matter. They're just local variables, so. Alright, so I'm putting in some, hopefully some helping kind of stuff in here. This will be L. This will be last. This will be L. This will be L, and this will be L. Alright, so I've got all that in. I'm going to stop right here. First, let me run it, make sure I didn't break anything. Always a good thing to do. And in the next lecture, I'm going to come back and I'm going to introduce loops. So, let me do a file, save all, run payroll. It should look exactly the same as it did before. Jeffrey P. Scott, 61. False, 1, 2, 3, 35, 45, and I should have all that stuff right here. I should change that from middle init to middle name. I'll do that before I come back with this. So, I'm going to make this a two-part presentation. So next we are going to come in and we are going to talk about looping. Alright, so for right now, this is looking actually really good. The only thing I do want to change is, please enter middle name, and that should say middle name. and that should say middle name. All right, I'm going to now, this will go into my part 4, so I'm going to grab again everything that's in here outside of my package statement. I'm going to grab every darn bit of it, copy it to the clipboard, and come in and paste that into here. All right, so I will be back. File, save all, file, close project. And in just a moment, I will come back in here and I will add payroll number 4. All right, I'll be back with that. Excuse me. I will be back with that very shortly.